it says petition number 531 of 2015. We are in 2025. So I want to read for you the summary, and this is the summary. Introduction. Odious debt is a legal doctrine that refers to loans incurred by government officials outside the law, i.e., without the consent of the people, which is codified in the laws of the land and or for their own benefit. The doctrine states that a country should not be obliged to repay debt incurred by a regime that did not use the funds to benefit the population, but instead used the funds for illegitimate purposes, including corruption, repression, or personal enrichment. This is the basis of the odious debt. And what this means is, we are trying to say that because the money they borrowed did not go to the development, or it was not accepted by us as the people, and even if those two things did not happen, which the law says that when you borrow, you must borrow for development purposes, yet that money did not even do that which they purported to borrow it to do. Therefore, it's odious in the sense that it was borrowed without participation of the people. And two, it did not follow the constitution. And number three, it did not do the purported purposes. And as you know, the money that was borrowed by this regime and the previous regimes never reached Kenya. Money was wired outside from another account outside the country to another account outside the country. And this happened because they created a law that allowed the government of Kenya to create what they call sovereign accounts outside of the Republic of Kenya, in contravention of the public finance, which dictates that money received by the government of Kenya must go to a consolidated account. They broke this rule, and therefore, ever since that time, they have been misusing money that they have always been lent. So clause 2, it says, in Kenya, the acquisition and utilization of public debt is prescriptively governed by the Constitution and the Public Finance Management Act of 2012, which is called the PFMA. Hence, it is easy to show debt that were incurred contrary to the law, that lenders knew or should have known the loans were illegitimate and or that the loans were not used for public benefit. So this is the petition. The petition concerns Kenya's huge odious debt amounting to 13 trillion 114 billion 602 million 305,902. That is the total odious debt. The odious debt includes 1, the Eurobond worth 919 billion 450 million. That is translated to USD 7.1 billion. Oh yeah, Lord, it is 7.1 billion US dollars, as the exchange rate of 1 USD equals to 129.5, which were borrowed in the financial years 2014, 2015, 2017, 2018, 2018, 2020, 2019, and 2020, 2021. That's part 1. It also includes, number 5, a further Eurobond loan of Kenya shillings 208 billion 324 847 510, or it is equivalent to 1.45 or 1.46 billion US dollars, which was borrowed in February 2024 and ostensibly utilized offshore to repay the initial one. In short, they borrowed to pay a debt. So this is why it becomes strange, because even what they paid, I don't think it was even able to pay the principal. What they have been doing is just paying the interest or managing the debt. Principal hatujaguza hapa. Anyway, I don't know. Let's read what Okiya Omtatah has put here. Number 6, this loan was fraudulent because A, according to Article 214(1) of the Constitution, the repayment of debt is a direct charge on the consolidated fund. And B, since borrowing must be tied to development projects and debt repayment is a recurrent expenditure, the state cannot take a loan to repay her debt. All right. So that in the first place, they're broken the law because they have taken a loan to pay a loan. And according to the Constitution of Kenya, you can only borrow for development. That is Article 214(1). Number 7, it is the petitioner's cause that the debt were incurred unconstitutionally and unlawfully, as they were not authorized in the national budgets approved by Parliament and signed into law by the President, i.e. Appropriation Acts. They were not tied to any development project and they were not utilized for any non-public purposes for the people's benefit. So now we go to part C, which is the purpose of government borrowing in law or under law. Under the law, the government is allowed to borrow for only two purposes: financing development expenditure and for short-term management of cash flow. 9, borrowings are validly controlled under Article 220, subclause 1 of the Constitution and sections 15(2)(c) and 15(3) and 53 of the Public Finance Management Act, that is PFMA. Further, and in particular, A, Article 221 of the Constitution provides that budget of the national and county government is and shall contain, tunajua ni estimates. Number 2, proposals financing. Number 3, proposals regarding borrowing. Those are the three that the budget should be able to cater for. And then he says in section B, that's section 15(2)(c) and D of the PFM provides that over the medium term, the national government borrowing shall be used only for financing development expenditure and not for recurrent expenditure. In short, this is a very long document. In short, what I'm trying to say is this. The government of Kenya has put us into a debt that never benefited any single Kenyan. In short, they used Kenyans to steal from outside the country. They cheated those people who gave them loans. So what Okiya Omtatah is trying to do is, he's gone to court to prove that Uhuru and Ruto, they stole public funds because they borrowed against the Constitution, and that money, even if they borrowed against the Constitution, it did not do any public good. Therefore, it is odious. And what does it mean? It means that as Kenyans, we cannot be allowed, we cannot be expected, we cannot be thought that you can be able to pay this debt. That means as soon as this current president leaves office, we will default. And we won't be defaulting because we are not able to pay. It is because this is a debt that cannot be accepted under our constitution. And therefore, the next president who will come and purport to continue paying the debts of Uhuru and Ruto, they'll be breaking the constitution. And that's why we must elect the right person. And a man with principles and a man with gut so that he can stand against these debts. And what does that mean for Kenya? It simply means we'll be able to manage our own expenditures, and all development projects from the revenues that you are going to be raising, because it is enough. If we stop paying this odious debt, we have enough money to be able to pay for all our projects and to pay for all our expenses. That's part one. I'll bring you part two. Thank you very much.